Right, so today I want to talk about a couple things, but it kind of is summed up into one main point. Now, this is something that happened a little over a week ago, and it's man with hammer killed doctor at Red Deer Walk-in Clinic. Um, and the main point I wanted to point out is um, mass immigration is probably going to destroy Canada. I'm not 100% convinced, but people just don't want to deal with the reality here. People just don't want to deal with the reality here. And why is it? They don't want to be called racist. It's just plain and simple. Like the evidence clearly, overwhelmingly shows that mass immigration does not work. You've had some of these countries that have been the most gung ho about mass immigration. You know, people like Merkel and these kind of people have reluctantly admitted that the experiment doesn't work. And the problem and this is the problem with mass immigration. People think it's one of those things, oh, you can just wait and see. No, you can't just wait and see, because what happens if you just wait and see? Well, you're going to wait and see, and you're going to wait and see until you're literally Somalia. You're a third world country. Yeah, that's what's going to happen if you wait and see. Because what happens is if you allow too much, they will come and they will take over again. This idea that we just have magic soil or any of this garbage that a lot of even a lot of people on the right, this isn't even something that's, I mean, on the left you almost exclusively believe in the whole magic soil garbage, but a lot of people even in the middle and on the right believe this too, that you can't just bring people from third world countries, especially war torn third world countries, and just expect them to just immediately become Canadian or American or German or whatever. That's not how it works. I mean, you see this even within Canada and the States. Are all these people leaving California and New York? Are they all of a sudden going to be like, yeah, we tried the whole leftist garbage social experiment of, incredibly high taxes, incredibly high regulation, and pretty much every far left political worldview that you can imagine, and it clearly didn't work. Um, it clearly didn't work. We're going to stop voting for that. No, some people changed. I'll give them that, but there is no way that the majority of people change their minds. There is no way that that happens. Now, I mean, for starters, how do we know that? I mean, number one, we know that immigrants from the third world overwhelmingly vote for the same stuff that they left. They overwhelmingly vote for it. Again, you see, and for the simple reason too that you look at the existing population. Well, the existing population is a lot less likely to vote for socialism than the immigrants, especially the ones from the third world. Now, again, this is something I have to point out in every video because there's always people that are so ignorant it's not even funny. But I understand that there's some immigrants that are not on the left, and I understand that there's some that aren't whatever you want to accuse me of. Yeah, I understand that. I'm simply playing the averages. And I'm not saying any individuals like this either. When we're talking about immigration, again, Canada's bringing in 350,000 is the official number. The actual number is higher than that. Um, so again, when we're talking about the population of probably around 400 to half a million people a year, we don't care about individuals because you can have 10% of them being full on libertarians, don't tread on me types. That doesn't matter because the other ones are going to outvote them, and not only are they going to outvote for them, they're going to outvote them easily. So again, we don't care about that. We don't care about that. I'm simply talking about averages. And the other thing I want to point out too is that before people saying, oh, you're far right, you want no immigration, no, my official position is we can have immigration, but under a few caveats. Number one, we need unemployment low enough that immigrants aren't coming in and stealing jobs, right? Because you can't have it like that. You can't have it the other way around. And the other thing too is that mass immigration will undercut the job market. Again, one of the reasons why wages haven't grown pretty much at all in the last 20 to 25 years is because of immigration. There's other reasons, but one of the main ones is immigration. Now, if you're a big company and you can hire an existing citizen or person within Canada or the States or wherever and pay them $20 an hour, or you can hire an immigrant and pay them 15 or 10, who are you going to hire? Well, there you go. Again, the left loves talking about exploitation and all this garbage, but when it comes to immigration, they could care less about it. Why? Because it benefits them. Again, every political position the left holds is to benefit them. Now, again, they'll make the argument in the on the other way around, but that's not exactly true. Again, for many reasons, more than I can get into in this video, but people on the right are a lot more individualistic, which means they're a lot less likely to be collectivists, which means they're a lot less likely to be like, hey, we're not going to vote for the other guy because we think he's a Nazi or a communist or whatever you want to call it. So again, that's the thing to point on. The other thing, so again, number one, unemployment rate has to be very low. Number two, the people coming in must not be net negatives on society. Like it or not, we are past the point of being able to spend massive amounts of money to have mass immigration. If you're going to have immigration, they can come in. Again, first caveat being they're not going to take jobs away from the existing population. Number two, they need to be contributing to the system because, well, what do you know? Immigrants from the third world are about twice as likely as a actual citizen to use welfare. Now, again, I've literally made videos on that using government stats. So anybody trying to say, oh, you're lying, no, the government stats contradict you. So stop being an idiot. So again, those are the two main caveats. I think there's other things, but those are the two main ones that if the government could satisfy those, yeah, we can have mass immigration. But the problem is that they're never going to do that. Why? Because mass immigration exists for two reasons, and it benefits both sides politically, but mainly the left. The left wants it because it's votes for them and it's cheap labor. And the right wants it because it's cheap labor. So again, that's the reason, and that's the reason why the right rarely pushes back against mass immigration. Trump being an exception to that, but that's why most of these right-wing politicians are perfectly fine with it because a lot of the people that are paying their re-elections and their campaigns are a lot of these big corporations, which love mass immigration. So again, that's why there's very little pushback on the right, at least on average. And again, getting back to the main point here, this guy was from Somalia, I believe. No surprise there. Now, the other story was from yesterday, or a few days actually ago, and man in custody after machete attack in Moncton. Now, again, they don't release the person's name or the person's picture, but whenever they don't do that, it's probably 90 to 95% chance that it was someone from Africa or the Middle East. Let's just be honest about it. If it was a white nationalist, I'm sure they would point out white nationalist. If it was even a moderate conservative, they would have pointed that out. There'd be pictures of him everywhere. We'd be able to go to his social media. We'd know everything about him to this point. So again, it's probably safe to say that it would, like I say, let's just be honest. Now again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm rather confident in that. I'd give it probably a 90% chance. So again, the point being is that um, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals want to keep having immigration incredibly high. Now, what is the problem with that? Well, what is the problem with that? The countries that are ahead of us on the curve have proven that experiment to not work out. Again, you look at some of these groups, you're looking at like what 10-20% of these people working. How are they living? Because the cost of living in Toronto and Vancouver is a little bit higher than in Mogadishu or Tehran or one of these places. So again, how are they living? Well, the government's paying their bills. The government's paying their bills. Not only that is that a lot of these people are they're entitled to benefits that even the average citizen isn't entitled to. They get dental stuff. They get like the equivalent of like 25 to $30,000 a year, I think, to literally not work. The average Canadian ain't getting that, and I mean maybe if you're a single mom and you're getting all those benefits, but aside from that, the average Canadian is not getting that. So, and this is the problem too, is that I don't blame. I mean, these kind of people, yeah, they're scum of the earth. These people that are attacking other people, but the ones that are coming and living off the government dole and minding their own business, I don't blame those people. Why? Because they're simply responding to an incentive. They can work in their own countries and make the equivalent to what, maybe 5 grand a year, if that, on average, and or they can come to Canada and get 25 and not have to work. Like, of course they're going to do that. So again, the incentives are completely backwards. And again, the last point I wanted to point out too is that um, I would love to be able to help these people, but the problem is we don't have the money. again, Canada's running a $500 billion deficit this year. We just don't have the money. If these people, if you want to raise taxes and cut spending to help pay for these people, go ahead. But the problem is that the people who are the most vocal support of this are the people that are least likely to do it on their own time. That conservatives are a lot more likely to donate and volunteer their time, to do charity work than liberals are. But liberals, you got this bleeding heart liberal stereotype. The reality is that these people want to appear virtuous, but not actually have to do anything that's virtuous. That's the goal here. So anyway, I'm gonna leave the video there. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check me out on those other platforms in the description. Make sure you follow me there if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more.